My name is Avni Garg. I'm 16 years old and I'm from New York City. I'm the president of Change Will Happen, and I founded this organization in 2016. In 2016, I started the Battery Project, the longest running and probably the most successful project that has come out of Change Will Happen. When I was in 6th grade, I visited Fresh Kills Park. Fresh Kills Park was basically New York City's dump. All of the rubble from like maybe hundreds and hundreds of years of, household trash, building rubble, anything just ended up in that park. So, it was just a giant landfill, not really much else going on. I happen to live, near that park, and when I visited Fresh Kills Park for the first time, I was astounded to find that it wasn't actually a landfill. They had converted it into a beautiful, beautiful park. So while I was there, they were trying to spread the message of what happens to different types of trash when it ends up in the landfill, because it's a pretty fitting discussion as a place that was a huge landfill. Something that stuck in my mind immediately is that how batteries make up 20% or 1/5 of all hazardous household trash. And batteries are small, they don't take up that much space, and they're in almost everything. Most of the appliances at my house that aren't, don't plug in directly use batteries, and even those have spare batteries at the back. So that kind of surprised me, since they're so common. What could they possibly do to the environment? Turns out they contribute heavily to air, water, and soil pollution. Air pollution because they can release toxic greenhouse gases. Water pollution and soil pollution because once they leach in the water, once they leach in the soil, they release toxins such as mercury, lead, nickel, lithium, and when those go in, those as by themselves can do really harmful things to the soil, but when they're consumed by smaller animals that are food for bigger animals, they enter the food chain and they enter the food cycle. And when they enter the food cycle, everybody in the ecosystem is harmed, including humans. Not too long after, I had to go for my yearly doctor's appointment. There, I noticed that batteries that had only been used once in various machines were being discarded. That, coupled with the knowledge that I had learned a few months earlier, didn't really sit right with me, because first of all, these guys can be super detrimental to the environment, and now we're just throwing them away when they're not even fully used. You might as well fully use these guys, right? So I asked the doctor, can I take some home with me? Unsurprisingly, they were perfectly fine. I was able to use them in my remotes, I used them for a toy car, and I didn't really think much of it until I realized that this wasn't a one-time thing. Her office, along with probably hundreds of others all around America, probably all around the world, do have similar practices. I started this ritual of putting bins outside the doctor's office, and any batteries that they had that weren't fully used, they would deposit them there. These bins, I would later take the batteries, sort them, package them, put a small message on the front, and distribute them to people, hoping that they would learn that batteries can be harmful to the environment and how to properly dispose of them. So far, we've distributed batteries over 3 states, and we have prevented over 30,000 batteries, which is over half a ton. We prevented these batteries from going into our environment and affecting our animals, plants, and atmosphere. Slowly but surely, I had made bins over many, many different offices across 3 states, along with a bunch of volunteers who I organized into teams who helped me with collecting, sorting, and basically spreading the message and teaching people how to properly dispose of this hazardous waste. As this traction continued, I started to give talks in schools, local zoos and aquariums, and various community events. Children, especially, were surprisingly receptive to all of this because they didn't know that things were happening like this in their community, and they felt very motivated to help. It would be a really good idea if we included more of a narrative about reusing and reducing our waste, especially toxic waste like batteries, in our environment. And I think this conversation can be best started if it's implemented in the school curriculum, because children seem to like learning about it, and when they learn about it at an early age, they can take these healthy habits with them throughout their entire lives and hopefully educate others.